Chess is among the oldest games in existence, and the question of if it can be considered a role-playing game has been in the air since at least the 1970s, when the genre emerged, with Dungeons and Dragons and the like. And I want to break down 3 arguments for why I think there's evidence that it is. RPG designer John Wick, yes that's his name, stands firm on the side that it is not an RPG.
But you can become one.
If it were to give the chess pieces such as the king, queen, rooks, knights, or pawns given names, and decisions are made based on their motivations. But do you need all these formalized rules of lore for it to be part of the RPG family? Don't get me wrong, I agree with the understanding a role-playing game needs to have some amount of, well, role-playing, but this is weirder to me due to the fact Wick seemed to suggest there isn't. It's always seemed to me that it's implied the player is playing the role of a tactician or even the king, commanding the forces. It makes sense, as if you aren't assuming such a role, you're essentially redefining chess to be an abstract strategy game, which it is not, solely due to the pieces being given their militaristic designations. Wick also argues it's not due to RPGs being story-driven. I do agree that a game in the genre needs one. RPGs don't have a story out of necessity for the gameplay. It's the inverse, the gameplay is a medium to tell the story. While it doesn't have a proper story per se, as in one that's like written out or scripted, to suggest chess lacks one is a fundamental misunderstanding of the game, and I'd argue of storytelling with the gaming medium as a whole. The story unfolds as the game is played. There are peaks and valleys with each player's move. The story is told through the gameplay. It's the purest form of storytelling in gaming, really. The last point I'd like to address is Wick's assertion that if you can successfully play the game without role-playing, then it's not a role-playing game. And I think this is perhaps his most compelling argument. It opens the key question to answer all of this. What is role-playing? Is simply assuming the role of a character not enough? Does it demand that a player act the part as well? There are actually multiple tabletop RPGs where you can do this. You can reduce your D&D character to just a game piece if you so desire, and by his logic, this would cause the game to stop being an RPG mid-session, which I think is a little bit absurd. I think it's hard to argue that the role one plays in chess isn't thrust onto the player throughout a game, even unintentionally. The nerves that spike when check is declared, regardless of which side you're on, the cornered czar or the cunning general. The 8x8 board becomes a battlefield, whether the player communicates it to the other or not. I just don't think that the role in RPG requires conscious acting. It can be inherent to a game's structure. And if you want to talk purely mechanically, there are clear level ups through the pawns. So, is chess an RPG? I think what I've highlighted speaks for itself. You're commanding armies, living through an unfolding story, and inhabiting the role of a general whether you realize it or not. Role-playing games have evolved so much through the decades that the question isn't whether chess fits the definition, it's whether we're ready to expand what we think RPGs can be. What do you think? Thanks for watching.